What is going on, all you cool cats and kittens? It's Michael Gascon, the Horse Guru, and we are here live to do another Horse Talk live and video review, answer some questions. It has been a busy couple of weeks. We just got back from the Mustang makeover. So awesome. A very cool experience. Always love my Mustang people. It's such a supportive crowd, supportive group of people that come together, and to see a whole bunch of 50 youth competitors all working their horses as well. The future of horse training right there in the youth. Very cool opportunity. We went in real happy with how broke my mare was, how well she handled the situation and environment, put on an unforgettable freestyle where she walked, trot, cantered a cart, changed leads, picked up both leads in a cart while wearing a full dress. And I was in a little bit of the Beauty and the Beast costume, so I couldn't see real good out of my mask. Then we were able to take a big, long tarp and dance with it like a garacha stick, but a big flowing tarp, and then lay down in the finals. It was awesome. Thank you so much to all my Gasconites that showed up and represented. I really appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. It was great to see you guys in the crowd. Uh, Another thing that happened is one of our students had one in the makeover, and she was able to find it a new home. Miss Bell find her forever home, and it's kind of a small world. I had just talked to a youth competitor. Her parents came over, said, "Hey, she's homeschooled. Whenever she graduates, she wants us to go to the academy. Whenever she goes to the academy, we want her to be able to stay there and learn from you because this is what she's going to do with her life." Didn't even talk about Belle at all. And they ended up being the ones to buy her. So she has an amazing new home with a young girl who is a Mustang trainer. Very excited to have a Mustang like Belle that does so many things. So I'm very excited that not only is she getting a home, but she's getting a home where somebody is going to work her and really use all the buttons that we put on her in that short amount of time. We get back. As soon as we get back, we have the 2023 Train Off Colt Starting Competition happening. So all of our contestants for the Train Off here at the Academy are going to war with a Colt Starting Competition. We've got half a dozen quarter horse colts and fillies that are in this competition. They're doing a 3-day colt starting competition that will be followed by a 30-day, 6-month, 90-day, and they'll compete every couple of months. But right now they are in the 3-day process. They are already 2 out of the 3 days in, and what an awesome bunch of horses. And wow, I knew that my students were pretty good, but I didn't know how good my students were because when they came in, most of our horses were already riding. So this really let me see how they were going to work on horses that had never been touched, that didn't lead, didn't halter. And 5 out of 5 are already on their horses and riding them around, taking them out of the round pen, going around, going over obstacles. So I couldn't be prouder of my squad and of my group. It's really awesome to see. The finale, the finals will be tomorrow. So I'm very excited to see how it turns out. You know how colt starting competitions go. You got to win the finale if you want to win. So I'm very excited to see how it turns out. Well, without further ado, we are going to bring to you the videos, starting off with Miss Wendy here. She is backing her horse up crooked. Nice stop. Has those low hands. Already working on dropping Penny's head. Now we're going to disengage in those hindquarters. Look how she's. So a lot of people don't know you could pick that hand up and over. Very nice and obvious. Look how that horse crosses over so easy. Right here, we're checking that manual override, making sure she gives easy, then putting a stop and a back up. I like how she's giving to that halter. So she is looking to get this horse to steer better. As she goes faster, she loses steering. Happens to a lot of us. It's a pretty natural reaction for a horse. The faster they go, the stiffer they get. So the ability to soften them up the faster they go is very important. So you see how she doesn't care about that lead rope at all. She really just doesn't jump forward. Then you're going to get on her and you're going to ask her to go at a higher rate of speed. So maybe one of the things I would do is I would clip to her nose instead of underneath her chin where the lead rope goes. The next thing I would do is I would pick up a lunge whip and ask for a little bit more intensity, a little bit more try. That's going to stiffen her up and allow you to soften her from the ground. Whenever we pull from where the lead rope is on the halter, that's the least amount of pressure the halter can deliver. Whenever we pull from the nose, that's the most amount of torque that we can get. So we get that doing the whirly bird, very cool. If we can grab from the top of the nose, we can drive that horse forward. And whenever we pull from their nose, it's really going to twist their head that way and put a little torque on them, which is going to make it easier for you. So your recipe to get more responsiveness here is if you want to go faster under saddle, we need to ask her to go faster on the ground than what you plan to go under saddle. And as she's going fast on the ground or faster on the ground, then you can work systematically to pick her apart because you're never going to be stronger than you are right now with 2 feet in the dirt. You're not going to be more confident, more balanced, more assertive, more clear than you are right now with 2 feet in the dirt. So you see when you're pushing her around with that lead rope, how she's just barely moving through the motions. That doesn't show you how stiff she is. Whenever you pop her with that lunge whip once and she kind of stiffens up, that'll give you something to work against. When she's going around here so cool, calm, and collected, what that does is it really doesn't show you how stiff she is until you're on top of her. And at that time, it feels too late. You see how she's lunging you, she has you taking more steps than her, and she's pivoting. I want you pivoting and pushing and driving her. And I think that lunge whip is going to help you where you're pivoting and she's the one working. So now we're on the horse's back, taking it for a walk. Working on flexing. So that's going to happen sometime, especially when you're riding a cool potato like him, her, this pretty pony. Since she's so relaxed and so easy all the time, you don't really see her stiffness. But then whenever you push her above the point where she's willing to trot or canter for you, well, then she stiffens up. And since we've done everything so calm and easy, so relaxed, which is awesome, we haven't worked on her whenever she's excitable. So she feels very stiff. So we feel like we can't control it. So that's why we need to pick up the pace on the ground to soften her up. So then when we get in the saddle, we feel like she's already just butter soft. I started a Hancock colt yesterday and today. That was a little bronky, a little waspy. And whenever he would get to bucking, I couldn't pull him around. So the way that I fixed it is I hooked to his nose and I got a lunge whip and I drove him with one hand, which made his feet move forward. And then simultaneously, at the same time, I would pull on his nose and just work it, work it, work it. And when he would give his face and move his feet, then he wasn't stiff anymore and he wasn't bucking anymore. Nice circles. I love how you're looking into the cone using that visual aid. Very nice. Now we're going the opposite direction. So as you're looking to the inside, if he lays on your hand, I want you to open and close your hand. And that's going to create friction on that halter so he doesn't want to lay on your hand. That's it. Looking to the inside. Very nice. So I think really that's going to be your recipe to success there. We're looking for that stop. Really have to pull when she wants to head to the gate. Yes, I think that's really going to be your recipe is softening her up in the face so that it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal whenever you want to stop or she wants to go to the gate. I believe just upping that intensity on the groundwork is going to soften her in the face and make it easier for you. I like the change of directions, softening her up and getting easier. So I would like to see the same, once you got this good, those same change of directions like that and picking up the rein, sliding your hand down the rein and moving her face around the same way. The same way at the trot would be really helpful. There we go. I love the way you're sliding your hand down the rein, finding her face and pulling her around. That's really nice. I haven't seen you do spirals yet. Spirals would be a great exercise for this. Getting her bent off to the side and backing her up crooked and picking apart her resistance. The way you do that is you make a small circle to the inside, lock your hand on your leg, kind of like you're doing right here, and then stop and back with that outside rein only. Inside rein locks in place on your leg, outside rein backs up. Look up. I want your chin up, and then you keep driving forward. That's it. Very nice. Same thing. I want your chin up, looking across the obstacle. Very nice. Speed transition there. Picked up to the trot, come right back down. Now we're changing directions. When we're changing directions like that, if you feel like she's straight from nose to tail, open and close the hand that you're pulling with. So there's a little friction. So she wants to soften to that rein.
This is Star, our blind horse, and this is our first real attempt.
I think when it comes to your horse stiffening up in that trot, if you will go to that lead line on the nose, clip to the nose, and have that lunge whip, we didn't do any trot work from the ground, and then we did trot work in the saddle. I would love to see that horse trot, even canter on the ground. As we're softening the face, you're going to be so much stronger and confident, and you're going to be have the ability to be more assertive because you don't feel in danger. That's really going to soften your horse up. So when you get in the saddle, it's going to be a lot easier. Let's see what Miss Barb has.
At grade school.
So this is really weird with the blind horse not to give body cues. What I mean is shaking your arms and doing stuff like that. Obviously, the horse can't see you. So we have to use those verbal cues. We have to say back and then shake the rope and then put pressure. And we have to work everything off of verbal cues because right now our body really doesn't matter how we carry ourselves because they can't see us, which is really foreign to us because every horse that we work, it's all about body language. Here, it's all about tone and timing. It's amazing to me the difference when somebody has a horse that has a handicap. If they don't treat them like a victim, the horse doesn't act like a victim. Now we're doing a little desensitizing. For most horses, it's sight, sound, and touch. For your blind horses, it's going to be sound and touch. We've got a tarp on it. Where's our flag stick already? So having a horse with a vision issue, whenever they're blind like this, if you will take the lead and be their seeing eye person, a blind horse can make an amazing horse because they will really trust you and depend on your judgment. So if you take care of them and don't allow them to get hurt on your watch where they don't get afraid and they trust in your judgment, you see horses like Indo the Blind and they can do some amazing things. I've worked quite a few vision impaired horses, and horses that are fully blind make awesome horses. Also, horses that have one eye, uh, the same thing. You can do good with them. Horses that give you the hardest time are actually ones that have spots or horses that have specks in their eyes because it's very inconsistent what they're seeing. So those are usually the toughest to work out of the group. If they're fully blind, it usually makes for a pretty easy work once you gain, like everything, gain control of their head. Now she's softening up right here. Using her timing, you see her releasing that rein. Now we're disengaging, getting that head bent around in both directions. Nice backup. The other thing that's awesome with a vision impaired horse is you putting your legs on them is like a superpower because they're hypersensitive to what they feel since their sight's taken away. So you can get a horse so broke, bridleless, whenever they're not looking to spook from things and they don't have an intention of where they want to go. They're waiting for you. They are almost halfway there in the making, for lack of a better terms, of a bridleless horse because they're really depending on you telling them where you want them to go. So I believe if you two keep working at it like this, you could have her bridleless in no time. You just want to make sure that already from now you're putting two legs on to go straight, taking one leg off, taking two legs off like that whenever you want to stop, taking one leg off when you want to turn.
Star's been blind for 4.5 years, and this is my first ride on her. She has been ridden in a bridle and bareback by my daughter. I would like to start riding her more, and I would like to eventually take her back out on the trails. And my question for you, Michael, is there anything that I should really focus on in the Respect series or any other exercise to help communicate to her where her feet are in this video, there were a couple of times that I felt like she wasn't sure where she was placing her feet or where she should be going.
So that is freaking awesome. First and foremost, congratulations. Congratulations to Miss Barb. You are a badass riding this blind horse for the first time. I've noticed you've been putting in the groundwork to get ready. So excited. Now, a couple things I would say is be very consistent with your legs, so she always knows where you want her to go. When you want her to go straight, put two legs on. When you want her to turn, take one leg off. When you want to stop, take both legs off. The next thing is I do this thing when I'm riding blind horses, that anytime the footing is about to change, so if I was to step on that tarp, or I was to step on a trailer, or I was to step in some rocks or water or anything new, I say the word step. Now, obviously, you can use any word that you want to, as long as you're consistent with it. But whenever I say this word step, it lets them know we are about to get on an obstacle or a different terrain. So slow your roll and feel for it with your feet. That way they're not getting tripped up because they prepare for something to be there. So if I'm going to step over a log, right before I get there, I'll put them at a walk and I'll say step, and they're already kind of feeling for it with their front feet. That's what I want you to do. So whenever you go over there and let's say you want to walk on that tarp, you ride the horse right over to the tarp. Before you get there, before you get to the obstacle, you walk them. And then right before you get there, you say step, step. And that starts becoming a cue and a warning. Hey, there's something to feel for here. So then when you go to trail ride her, or you go to step her into the water, or you go to step her onto a trailer, or you go to change terrains, there's a ravine or something that she needs to know that there's a change, that she just doesn't carry the same speed. She does it with caution. And that's
Barbara
really the
Tamborski
only
and
cue that
Goldie,
changes.
a 23-year-old Missouri Foxtrotter, were working on our canter.
Miss Barb's been working on this mare, working on that canter. She had her here at the boot camp. Really made some progress. She's working on dropping that head. That mare's been driven up in the bridle her whole life, dropping her head so she can lope off quieter and easier. There we go. Look at that drop right there. That's what we want to see. So for those of you who don't know or don't have gaited horses, a lot of times if you're trying to do canter work with them and they've been driven up into the bridle their whole life, they want to pace versus canter. So that means 2 feet want to hit the ground and they just want to get stiffer and stiffer. So see right there how she wants to move 2 feet at the same time, like a choo-choo train. That's not very comfortable for the rider, not very comfortable for the horse. So she's looking to start dropping this horse's head so she can break into the canter easier. But you see this horse being 20 years old has in her mind she wants to pick her head up and drive against that bridle. So we're trying to convince her, honey, if you just put your head down, life is a lot easier. So she's working on softening, getting her easier. And the way that you do that is incrementally go faster as you soften simultaneously. You get them softer, ask them to go faster. Get them softer, ask them to go faster. Get them softer, ask them to go faster. And by the time that you can canter or gallop your horse and they'll just stay off your reins, they're going to pick up the canter so much easier. They're going to be so much smoother. Whenever you drop a horse's head below their withers, it releases serotonin. Serotonin is the killer of adrenaline. We don't want adrenaline. We don't want excitement. We want serotonin and relaxation. So our ability to get them to drop their head is our ability to get that serotonin release. There we go. Much better. You might say, well, she's pacing. We got to face one thing at a time. Right there, that mare's starting to drop her head and move her feet at the same time. And that's what we're looking for. The way to the mountaintop is small steps and a big vision. So her big vision, she wants this horse just loping around on loose rein. We got to do one step at a time. And the next step for this mare is to get her head down. It's a very simple concept. Doesn't mean it's very easy. All right, they are working on pedestal training. And wow, is that a palm tree for a pedestal? That's pretty cool. I like her forelock. Very nice work. Very nice work. She had a great question. If the release lets him know when he's getting it right, how do I know? How does he know to keep going? If you keep that position and you start clicking ever so subtly, if he doesn't know how to do it, you'll release on one step, but very quickly you'll click, click, click. And as long as you're clicking, that horse will know to keep going. Right there. Click, click, click. Those verbal cues are really great to let the horse know to keep trying, that we're still asking. Vice versa, when we stop clicking, it becomes very obvious. On this video, I can't hear volume. It doesn't have audio on it to tell me if you are clicking, but that click is going to help a lot. And then you will stop clicking there momentarily every time it steps in the right direction. So we're working on this lay down. Perfect. So I don't know if you're releasing whenever he picks a leg up, but we got to release so he knows he's doing the right thing once we get a leg up. It's like right there, we've got to get quiet momentarily so he knows that's what his job is. He looks to me as if he's not sure exactly what we want right here. There you go. So release. Good release right there, Miss Lori. Good release. That's it. There we go.
All we're going to do today is just walk.
Redneck sounding board. Let's see what we've got. See if we can make some music. There we go. She's got some plywood down. Believe it or not, that's what a lot of sounding boards are made out of. 4x8 sheets of plywood. So that's not a redneck sounding board at all. You hear how clear it sounds? That's it. That's it. Put her in frame. Bring her right straight to it.
Maybe that branch can come down.
There we go. Yeah, so the only difference between that and, let's say, more of a official pheno strip is our pheno strip will be a little longer, but you can more than tell if the horse is gaiting on those two sheets right there. If we're going to gate the horse, we're going to pick up our hands a little bit. Very nice, much better. I bet the neighbors are thinking, what is that?
Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Okay.
We've got some new obstacles out, some pipes and a dog. Gather up on the reins a little bit. There we go. Very nice. If we're going to gate around, let's pick up those reins a little bit, get a smaller frame. So she said, the text says we're about to do spirals.
I cannot slow her down. Whoa. I cannot slow her down.
So whenever we're going to slow her down, we have our hands way back here by our body. Let's gather up those reins. If we're going to gate her, let's get about 2 more feet out of those
I
reins.
have my hands down low. I'm doing it with just one hand. And if I am just going on 2 fingers, she is out of here. So we'll try again.
So if we're going to ask her to,
My hands are low. They're just
go ahead and stop her, gather up the reins and shut her down. The thing is, we're trying to slow her down or be gradual once she's already going, has a head of steam. If you stop her before she gets that head of steam and then release gradually, and then before she gets a head of steam pulled up again, we stop her again or back her up crooked again and then release her before she gets so much going. I see this all the time on the trail from folks too, is people will go on a trail and the horse will have not been walking for 50 feet or 60 feet, 100 feet, and then they'll kind of yell at the horse, why aren't you walking? Well, 50 feet ago was the time when she just took an inhale and looked like she was going faster. That was the time to address it and gather up the reins. So for you, whenever you're gating around, I would gather up the reins so she knows the difference. Right now, we're riding the same at all times, and it's hard for her to know when to turn on and when to turn off. Whenever we're gating our horse around, our hands are down. Whenever we're walking, our hands are down. Whenever we ride the same way on any horse, your lazy horse will get lazier, your hotter horse will get hotter. So if you want that on and off switch, we need to be that on and off rider. If we have a hot horse, whenever we are going to allow them to move, in this case, we have a gated horse and we're going to gate, we need to close up the box, have a good bit shorter reins, and have that horse in frame and gate, and have our back up, sit up straight, and let that horse gate, so that when we stop and we let that horse relax, the horse knows a black and white obvious difference. But now we've gotten a habit of that horse gating lap after lap after lap with us sitting like this. Well, then the lines become blurry and the horse doesn't know when to turn on or turn off. If you had a lazy horse and you rode that way, well, then the problem you would have is the horse wouldn't want to turn on. Since you're riding the same way all the time, if you don't come to life, well, then the horse is going to say, well, I don't know when she wants me on or off, so I'm just going to be off. So the problem of not being both of those riders, not being the on and off rider, is the horse is going to give you more of what they are. If they're lazy, they're going to be more lazy. And if they're hot, they're going to be more hot because there's not a defining on and off switch there that's making it clear for them. So if you work on that a little bit, I think you'll find it better. In the text, it says you're trying to do spirals, but there was no spiral in there. Spiraling is when you put them in a small circle and then you back them up crooked. And if they have any issue, you just drop the outside rein and do it again. But we do that with very little forward motion, and we use that small circle to take away the forward motion. We have a question coming in. My mare is not buddy sour for any particular buddy. We could be on a trail and she will see a new horse or barn out in the distance, and she would decide she would rather be there, even if she's never met those horses before. Would the Respect series be the best series to work on right now? While she doesn't bolt, she will plant her feet and refuse to move away, but the direction she wants to go, or only back up and not move forward. I worry this behavior could escalate to bolting as I start trail riding with her more. I am assuming this stems from anxiety and insecurity, but she is so frustrating to try to work with at home, and I can rarely get her off property. Miss Jordan. All right, Miss Jordan. Anytime the horse is getting buddy sour or barn sour or too study or marish or any of these things, it's a lack of respect and attention for you. My kids right now, they're riding colts that have never been worked with, that don't lead, that don't do anything, and they're riding them out and about. And their quality from first to fifth place right now in my students is completely based on who has the most respect and undivided attention from their horse. The more attention they have from the horse, and the horse is paying attention to that rider the whole time, they're riding this horse that's been ridden for one day out and about in the grand open, the grand yonder, with little to no problems. Not because the horse knows anything. The horse knows nothing. The horse only knows to pay attention to the rider, and if they move off on their own, they can get pulled around. Moral of the story is we have to get that respect on them. So the Respect series is absolutely the route to go. Really focus on backing them up, or they say, oh, when they get in trouble that you can get their attention. Think about it as if your mother clears her throat around you. My mother at this day and age, she is pint size, and I'm a grown man, mid-30s. She can say all three of my names and freeze me up right now. I'm sorry. I don't know what I did. I didn't mean it. That's how you want your horse to be. And the more types of behavior that they show like that they are buddy sour, or they might bolt with you, or they might stop and run backwards, it's the lack of your ability to say, excuse me, young lady, I said, go this direction. If we don't nip that in the butt when we're at the house and really kind of push to make them uncomfortable and work through it, give them a little anxiety and work through it and really get their attention, really have them to look to you for guidance, then whenever we get out on the trail, we could pay the price, because you can be in places that are not as forgiving as your house is. So definitely go through the Respect series and get her really soft backing up, get her really soft head and butt, flexing and disengaging. If you can control her head and you can control her butt, she cannot bolt with you. If you can control her head and her butt, she can't run backwards with you, because you could take her butt away from her, and she can't shut down with you. Because if you can control her head and her butt, you can move 2 feet. Those back feet you can move whenever you want. And on any horse, if you can move 2 feet, you can move 4. But you have to have the ability to get them so soft that you can take their head and move their butt. Well, guys, that about sums it up for this week's edition of Horse Talk Live. Thank you so much for sending in your videos. You know, the work only works if you put in the work. And I'm so proud of each and every one of you for putting in the work, sending in the videos, so we have content to review. If you have any questions or you have anything that we can help you with, feel free to put it in the comments, and we will get after it. Whenever you want, send in your videos and we will check them and see if we can help you keep moving forward. Stay tuned over the next couple days, because there is going to be the finale of our colt starting competition. The students have been doing awesome. This may be my proudest moment as a trainer. Not the fact that I turned into a colt starter who could systematically train horses and ride close to any horse in a day or two, but the fact that each and every one of my students was on the horse in the same day, that each and every one of my students in 2 days' time were on horses that did not lead, that have dreadlocks in their hair. They're riding them out of the round pen safely, not just riding them out and bucking around like a buckaroo, not bronc riders, but they're actually these young kids, these young men and women are riding their horses out of the round pen on 2-day colt starts. It's really awesome. Very proud moment for myself. Love to see where the program has come and love to see the talent that we've been able to surround ourselves with, people with passion, people with drive. Really, really happy to see how this is going. I can't wait to see what the future holds. So excited to see you guys. See you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in.